Hey guys, how you doing? Thank y'all for taking the time out to listen to me. I know I'm not this big time YouTube guy, but some of y'all really do take the time out to listen to me, and I really appreciate that. I wanted to talk today about this interview that Chris Mannix did with what's his name, Bill Wanger, VP of programming and scheduling over at Fox Sports, and essentially the guy who deals with the PBC side of things. And they went over quite a few talking points, and it was one of the strangest, saddest, and it was revealing. Even though he tried his best not to answer certain questions, but in his non-answers, he answered a lot of questions. So let's go over some of the talking points that I wanted to get into, which I found to be very important. And this is not the first time. I'm sure you've heard people talk about this interview before. You gotta go look it up. I'll try to put it in the description box, so you can go and listen for yourself if you haven't already. But he's first off, well, that I found odd is that he said there's gonna be about only 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year. Now, pay-per-views is something that I have written off a long time ago, and I'm talking about pay-per-views that are $70, $80 or something like that, I think, in the States. And you're telling me he's like, it's only 4 to 5 pay-per-views. I'm wondering what fighters are gonna be worth having 4 to 5 pay-per-views a year on PBC. Who are these fighters? Who are these fighters that people are willing to pay for on PBC 4 to 5 times a year? What matches are you gonna make? You know? And I just find it odd that these people are not budging on this pay-per-view thing. But again, people have to make decisions. As consumers, you have to make a decision for yourself and your pocket. Are you gonna pay $80 a pop for 4 to 5 pay-per-views if you're a boxing fan? You know, I just don't understand. But anyway, we move on. So he went on, he spoke about the relationship between Fox and PBC and Showtime and PBC. And this is important because Steven Espinoza at Showtime has made himself an absolute ass over the last few maybe years since the whole DAZN thing came around. And him and Eddie Hearn have had these beefs. I remember Steven Espinoza and Eddie Hearn having these big blow-ups on Twitter where Eddie Hearn essentially exposed Steven Espinoza. He told him, you're not going to be doing this much longer. And Eddie Hearn used to make fun of Steven Espinoza, saying, how come you're not getting no good fights from Fox no more? How come Fox is getting all the good fights? What's happening with Showtime? And it looks like we understand why now, because Wanger said PBC and Fox. Fox pays PBC to be in the premier position. Where does that put Showtime? It puts Showtime in a secondary position. It puts Showtime bringing up the rear. So what was all this bullshit that Steven Espinoza was putting himself in between the Anthony Joshua fight and Deontay Wilder fight for? Right? He put himself in between that fight as a block for no reason, and he's still not gonna get the fight. So he put himself in between that fight. He blocked one of the biggest fights in boxing currently, just because he wants to be spiteful. Because, according to what Wanger said, Fox is in the premier spot when it comes to fights for PBC. They're gonna get the cream of the crop. And Showtime has to settle for what they get. This is unfortunate. So Showtime and these people I think Black Cars on the other side people, these people used to be rallying hard for Showtime. Oh, we want Showtime. Now look at this shit. They were clamoring for Showtime to give Deontay Wilder his big contract. Well, he ain't getting no big contract, and we understand why. And we understand why they didn't even try and bid for the Deontay Wilder Luis Ortiz fight. Showtime ain't doing shit. And Steven Espinoza did that shit, blocked that fight because he was being spiteful. Another thing he said about like other broadcasters, I think Mannix asked him about if it's true that there's going to be a simulcast between ESPN and Fox for the Wilder Fury rematch. And he wouldn't comment on that. He said there's nothing, but he said there's nothing signed on that. I don't know if that's true or not, but again, goes to show that a lot of these reports about simulcast and all that, these people are not willing to work with anybody really. They're keeping things in-house. So he went on to talk about the reason why is because Fox is self-sufficient. He says, PBC is self-sufficient. He's saying they have 99% of the best fighters on the planet, boxers on the planet, and I don't know where he gets that from. PBC can't even find fights for Gervonta Davis in his own weight classes. They can't find fights for Jamal Charlo. They barely can find fights for Deontay Wilder in PBC. That's worth a damn, because all his biggest fights are off PBC, off Fox. We're talking Dillian White, we're talking Tyson Fury, we're talking Anthony Joshua. All these people are elsewhere. And I'm guessing Deontay Wilder is one of these people who they want to do the 4 to 5 pay-per-views with. So Deontay Wilder's best fights are somewhere else. So I'm wondering what 99% this guy is talking about. Anywho, you have a situation now where he's saying these people PBC guys don't need anybody else, and it's other people who have issues fighting opponents. He mentioned Crawford and he mentioned Canelo. I don't know where he gets this Canelo shit from, because Canelo has options all the way up to light heavyweight now. What is he talking about? I don't know about this Crawford thing. He might be right with that. Crawford needs some big fights in his career. I don't know what they're going to do. And they're hell-bent now in freezing out Crawford and anybody else holding a WBO belt, which we now move into, because he has said plain that they do not rate the WBO belt. He said it openly and explains a lot. Remember when Andy Ruiz was on, when he had just beaten Joshua, he was on with Deontay Wilder, I think, on a Fox show. I think it was some analyst work he was doing or something. So some interview he was doing before a fight. And he didn't mention the WBO belt. This is going ways back, so it exposes a lot of things, and there's why people on Fox or PBC do certain things. This guy Wanger exposed a lot of things. He's saying we don't rate the WBO and anybody in the WBO. He says no PBC fighter is in the WBO rankings. They're not fighting to be in the WBO rankings. I'm not sure what has happened with the PBC and WBO. Is it because if they rate the WBO, that means they have to fight Terence Crawford? They have to fight Demetrius Andrade? What is the reason? Y'all please tell me what you think the reasons are why they don't rate the WBO. Y'all tell me why. The other thing is that he's saying, which was striking for me, that they still would prefer to do Ruiz versus Wilder than Joshua versus Wilder. Even if Ruiz loses, he wants to do Ruiz versus Wilder because that's a bigger fight. Who is this person? But again, it exposes a lot. Deontay Wilder had already said before this that the Andy Ruiz fight is a bigger fight. So obviously somebody was feeding Deontay Wilder this information to start pushing early, getting it in people's heads that, oh no, Andy Ruiz is a bigger fight. I don't know what to say. But again, a few people have said before that they've moved on from the Joshua fight and the Wilder fight. It's not going to happen. Deontay Wilder does not want to fight Anthony Joshua. I don't think he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. He don't want to fight Joshua. He don't want to fight Dillian White. He don't want to fight none of these people. So forth, because again, he said the Ruiz fight is bigger than the Joshua fight before this interview. So this Wanger guy is just essentially exposing where that information came from. That it's actually something that Fox PBC has already decided and has already fed out there to Deontay and Andy Ruiz. So we have a situation now where the next thing is that in terms of belts, and they only rate WBC, IBF, and WBA. What can I say about that? Is that why they didn't mention Callum Smith in the super middleweight rankings? But the problem is Callum Smith is the WBA, right? Champion, right? So why didn't they mention Callum Smith? And they don't mention Terence Crawford. Oh, also PBC belt incoming. What do y'all think about that? Is Deontay Wilder going to be cool with that? He don't want no franchise WBC belt, right? He's been on camera saying the WBC championship belt is the most prestigious and most precious, blah, blah, blah. So is the PBC belt the most precious and prestigious now? Is he going to sell that soon? Because you know Deontay, does what he's told and says what he's told to say, right? So what's next for the PBC? Tell me what y'all think. You gotta listen to this interview. It's a lot to unpack. Next thing he says is that he was asked by Mannix if they would acknowledge Terence Crawford if he didn't have WBO. And he said, yes, we would acknowledge Terence Crawford if he didn't have a WBO. Absolutely ridiculous. You got to listen to this interview. You got to go and hear this man say also that Deontay Wilder sells out arenas. People have to come to Deontay Wilder. He's the WBC champion, and people have to come to him. He sells out arenas. Does this man watch boxing? Deontay Wilder has never sold out anywhere he's ever been. Wanger declared Deontay Wilder sold out Staples Center. He said, with an incredulous voice, you think those people came to see Tyson Fury? Yeah, Tyson Fury sold those tickets, sir. Nobody came to see Deontay Wilder. People came to see Tyson Fury because he talked up a lot of shit. Did you not see the weigh-ins? When the crowd was booing Deontay? This man does not watch boxing. And he's trying to push this false narrative of Deontay Wilder selling out arenas. Man, give me a break. Look here. Y'all have a nice day. Tell me what you think. And, peace and power, man.